Fields sent on their way in the Breeders' Cup Classic to the roar of the Santa Anita crowd. Regal Ransom bounced away quickly. Zenyatta is dead last. Zenyatta's dead last early. It's Regal Ransom going on. Gio Ponte, Einstein is right there. Colonel John in the white colours. Summerbird has the red cap in the vanguard too. Rip Van Winkle is on the outside and Twice Over racing right behind them. They tightly grouped and not in a big hurry out on the lead. Then it's Awesome Gem. Gio Ponte's back fourth last. Been followed then by Richard's Kid. Then comes Mind That Bird and Zenyatta is dead last. Zenyatta last. Got to be giving them about 10, 11 lengths start. They grow to the three-quarter pole now in the Classic, and it's Regal Ransom just setting a sensible pace, not in a big hurry out here. Rip Van Winkle now goes up second, and Colonel John scrapes the paint in third. Einstein's right there too. Girolamo, white cap far side. Here's Kent DeSormo and Summerbird. They six at the rail, just five off the leader. Then it comes Twice Over, Awesome Gem, and Gio Ponte's giving them 7 length start. Then it's Richard's Kid. Now here's Zenyatta. Zenyatta is still a good 10, 11 off the leaders. And then it's 4 back to Mind That Bird. A half mile to go now in the Classic, and still the leader is Regal Ransom, a length and a half. Rip Van Winkle being sent along after him. Then Colonel John. On the far side, Girolamo. Einstein is right there. Summerbird at the rail. Twice Over is next. Then Awesome Gem. Gio Ponte's behind that. Then Richard's Kid. And now here's Zenyatta. And let's see. Zenyatta has a lot of ground to make up. Zenyatta, if she wins this, she'll be a super horse. She's starting to pick them off, though. Zenyatta going to hook to the outside. Meanwhile, it's Colonel John. Summerbird in the red cap. And Zenyatta's come to the outside. Zenyatta coming flying on the grandstand side. Gio Ponte on the inside. Summerbird is right there. This is unbelievable. Zenyatta, what a performance, one we'll never forget. Looked impossible, but it is Zenyatta, still unbeaten under Mike Smith. Gio Ponte second, Summerbird, and then Richard's Kid. What a dramatic performance, one of the most sensational ever.
Zenyatta, seriously, can you believe that was back in 2009? Unbelievable. Time just flies, right? Well, Ren Carruthers here. Welcome to the Future Stars forecast on this 2-year-old Tuesday. So what does the video of Zenyatta winning the 2009 Breeders' Cup Classic have to do with 2-year-olds? Well, she's got one in the barn of my very special guest, her last foal actually, Nymue, daughter Warfront, in the care of Cherie DeVaux. Cherie, I see we have another special guest.
Yes, Reggie, was wanting to join in the last 2 seconds since we spoke a few minutes before we started. So instead of barking and chiming in, I figured we just let him hang out here and hopefully he cooperates. It doesn't be too distracting.
I love it. It almost looks like one of those old paintings with the terrier with the regal owner.
Yeah, he's not too regal. He looks like he's Frodo with his Frodo beard. So.
But anyway, you do.
Let's talk about something more regal in Nymue.
For sure. So tell us about, the fact that this is not only a daughter of Zenyatta, but it's her last foal. It's obviously special. It would be stupid to say, does this feel special? Of course it does. Yes. But can you let us sort of live vicariously through you and what it was like when you got the call that, yeah, she's going to come to your barn?
Yeah, so it was actually it was not that easy of a process. Like, hey, Cherie, can you train this filly? It wasn't that simple. It was more of like, Anne wanted to have a conversation and see if it was a good fit between us. And then really she wanted to see if it was going to be a good fit with Nymue and myself. And then just see if everything would work together. So it was a lot of conversations, and it was, I think she wanted to honor the legacy that Zenyatta left, and it wasn't. I don't think it was a decision that Anne took lightly. She has great respect for John Sheriffs, my father-in-law, and she was just wanting to do something different. Not anything to take away. She spends a lot of her time on this coast. She lives in New York a lot of time, spends a lot of time in New York, and she liked the idea of having Nymue and Shuggy I have, which is Zelda's first offspring. So she liked the idea of having them both in Kentucky and on this coast where they could be running and she could see them a lot and visit them a lot and often. So, and she decided it was ultimately going to be a good fit. Just a lot of conversations about logistically how it was going to work out. And, I explained to her that in the summertime I spend a lot of time up here. And so they're both up here with me. And the majority of our 2-year-olds are in Kentucky, and I do travel back and forth, but they're both up here, and it's special. But managing expectations, Nymue will unlikely start at Saratoga. She's just getting her baby, the baby drills in, and her baby drills are timed workouts, just by nature of her stride and how naturally speedy she is. So it's been really fun so far. It's been a fun process to share with Anne and Todd Cloach, who's her racing manager, and April Mayberry as well, who broke her. So we all have our morning. I'm gonna let him down so they can. But we all have a little morning text group, and they all get either we do a video or a photo most days. Just of something, even if it's yesterday I had totally out of focus video, so I had a picture of her. She was not wanting to get up, and she just had her legs out like this, and she she was like this for a good while, just no, I don't want to get up, but I don't really want to lay down, so I'm just gonna lay here like this. I think we've all been in that spot before.
Oh yes.
But no, it's really neat, and it's very funny because I was a huge fan of Zenyatta, and it was in my infancy of Facebook, and I wrote those what's on your mind? I was I heart Zenyatta. So
I love it.
Well, it's still there. that horse girl and hearting Zenyatta is still there, and she looks just like her. So
yeah, nobody can be faulted for that. And obviously, it's super cool that David Ingordo, your husband, has this just profound connection to Zenyatta. He discovered her. He bought her for $60,000 as a yearling. I mean, and what she went on to do is just absurd, right? I know they put so much pressure on these mares that they should reproduce themselves, and it's so hard. People need to realize that stallions get 100 plus opportunities per year. A mare gets one baby, unless something freaky happens and she has twins per year, and she hasn't even had that many foals.
Right.
So I do remember, because David was awesome. He let us do a full Friday for Breeders' Cup at Lane's End with Zenyatta and Nymue. I have a little footage that I can play in the background here. And we were just struck by how much she resembles Zenyatta. Let's see. Just share the screen. It was a beautiful day when we went out there. And, when you're in Zenyatta's presence, it's kind of surreal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't realize she's a big filly, or she's a big mare, and you don't realize until you're there. But I could do you one better.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in my office, and I can show you Nymue from here if I.
Oh, yes. Do it. Let me remove this screen.
Hold on. I don't know how far. I don't know if I can switch my camera around. Let me see.
You should get some snuggles with her.
She's not. She's eating right now, and I'm going to tell you one thing about her. So now, if it comes out, you're going to have to tell me. But
all right.
One thing about her is she loves her food.
She's a girl after my own heart.
Oh yeah. So I hope that it's I'm getting 2 bars. So I'm hoping when I go in here, I don't totally lose you.
Yes, let's hope.
Taller. We've got 1.
And there she is, everybody. Nimue.
Come here. You have an adoring fan club here. Come here.
Oh my gosh. Hi, baby.
You know they're talking about you.
Yes, we are. Everybody, this is Zenyatta's baby, Nymue. Hi, pretty girl. Oh my gosh. Cherie, this is too cool.
There you go. Can't say
That
you
is
didn't see.
too cool.
All right. I've got things to do, but you got to make an appearance on here.
Oh my gosh, we got a nose boop. Heck yeah.
You got a couple.
Yes.
Oh. There you go.
Oh my goodness. Oh, her halter almost looks like one of the dressage head stalls.
Yeah.
I love it.
Something stuck in your throat. She inhales her food. She loves to eat. So here, I'll give you everyone we're talking about real quick while I'm out here, and then I'll go back to my office.
Sure, absolutely. She feels pretty.
Mickey's
Diana.
in there somewhere.
Hello, Miss New York winner. You're going to go run into Diana this weekend? You're going to keep rolling?
And then Dr. Agne. He's always a pretty...
Lady Eli's baby boy.
So we'll do it real quick, and then I don't have to come back out here. I'm surprised it's still working somewhat.
Oh my gosh. Hello.
Oh my goodness.
He heard my voice. He was startled. Oh my gosh. Check out that blaze.
He's really, really sweet, unlike his mom. Whoop. Sorry about
Oh, Lady Eli, his mom. Yes. She had the cone, everybody.
Yeah. So
the cone of... What do you call it? The cone of...
the cone of shame.
The cone of shame, right?
No, but he's super sweet.
Oh.
Okay, we'll go back in our office and be more professional. Sorry.
Ugh, that was awesome. That was beyond awesome. But you also keep it up. Don't you also have the process? He's Zenyatta's nephew?
Yes, we have the process. He just ran the other day at Ellis Park. But yes, and we have another one, Zverev, who's also somewhat related to them. So kind of got the whole family.
Oh, hi, Katie. She said, show Nymue. Well, Cherie just did. You'll be able to, we're live right now as of 5:13 on this Tuesday, the 8th of July, but you'll be able to replay this back and you can see Nymue there. And by the way, everybody, this is, again, a live show. So if you have a question, comment for Cherie, by all means, pop it on up. So before we talk more about the horses in the barn, let's talk about the barn itself, because you put up this really moving post featuring Nymue and Dr. Agne. Let me see here. I'll pull it up. And it was right here. Big shoes to fill in barn 83. And if you can talk about why.
Yeah, so right before the Belmont, we were told that we would be taking over barn 83, which was Wayne Lucas's longtime digs here at Saratoga. And it was prior to anyone knowing that he was dealing with health issues, which I think he knew about, but was kind of keeping it close to, close within his circles, which we have to respect. And, so they said, as it came out more and more, you can kind of read between the lines that things were not going his way. His end of life was coming. And when we came in, it was, you come in, you have this, anyone who knows Wayne knows that he has high level of expectations for everything. And they tell us right before we ship for the Belmont, because what I was saying is I'm going to stay here. I need to know where I'm going so I can get the barn set up. And they said, oh, you're going to have Wayne's barn. And I'm like, well, that's great, because Wayne has a full staff that comes in and gets the barn ready, and he has a whole process. And I'm like, this is going to look like crap. Like, how am I going to do that? Like, I'm behind. But ultimately, it's you're coming into a barn, you're going into hollow ground, like, really, honestly, we're filling the stalls that champions have been in and come out of. And I don't say they're big shoes to fill; they're big cowboy boots to fill, and we're trying to make it, you know, we're trying to maintain his memory, but you know, we have our barn, and we're going to try to make our own legacy here, and hopefully New York, they'll have us here and they'll keep us here, and we'll continue, you know, we'll continue our own traditions and our own legacy and our own story going forward, but we're all trying to honor Wayne and just not come over and say, okay, well, let's just erase everything of him. We've got some things that are still here. There's Wayne and Lori
Aw.
here, and there's, you know, some stuff that's still up that, you know, will stay up, and you know, I just didn't feel comfortable just coming in and ripping everything out. And he left this office like he was coming back. This is his chair, this is his desk, and this is a little hard. You know, I wasn't close with Wayne. I respected him immensely, and was intimidated. And Ren, you've known me forever, so you know that that's kind of like a very profound.
Yes.
Like, I was very intimidated to talk to him.
So was I.
So, but yeah, so we're trying to honor his legacy. We've got some stuff going on with Naira. We're going to do a little garden next year. Bass was very nice. His longtime assistant sent a sign. So on the back side corner, there's his sign still hanging, and my sign is hanging. So it's kind of like we're co sharing the barn, and then that'll move to the back when we do his memorial garden. So we're still doing things to keep his memory alive here.
No, I think that the barn is in such incredible hands with you. So yeah, and what you say is so true. I was intimidated also, but he couldn't have been nicer when you spoke with him. I think part of it is when you grow up watching him. I mentioned this during the show last week. I'm in my 40s, and so for me, my very first image of a racehorse that I didn't personally have a connection with on the farm was of Lady Secret.
Right.
And of course, then he was the very first image of a trainer I have in my mind. And then you connect those memories with sharing them with your family. And so then when he passes, it almost feels like a part of that connection is lost.
Yeah.
But I know you'll do everything to honor the legacy of that barn. Can you talk about what is really also special about that barn location-wise for you as a trainer?
Yeah, so it's a wonderful spot. We've got a big back area behind us, so big walking ring. It's pretty quiet. It used to be more quiet, but they put some dorms back here, which is fine. People have to live somewhere, and they've built state-of-the-art comfortable dorm rooms for the staff, which is important.
Oh yeah.
But we have a whole back area that we can graze horses. Most importantly, there's Bully, our pony, can give pony rides to the young kids. My nephews come over. Couple other kids come over and get to ride on Bully. But it's a big, quiet area. The horses do really well with it. So it's a great location. It's quiet. I like it that I have a big, quiet office I can work out of. I've been here all day working away. So,
and how's it getting to the training track?
It's right next to the training track.
Yeah.
So it's straight walk to the training track, and a little bit of a walk to the main track. But like I said, it's good for the horses, which is
right. You would give them more time to maybe, because they know it's game day, to sort of just ease into it with the longer walk.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's good. What has it been like? I know the Saratoga meet officially starts this week, but there was the Belmont at Saratoga
sort
of kickoff party. So what's the vibe like?
It was a little quiet because I think it's 4th of July and everybody has their family traditions. So I'd say it was a little quiet and subdued, but again, there's plenty of people. There's plenty of attendance. So I think it was well attended. I just, again, they had the Stars and Stripe Festival at Aqueduct, and I'd have to say it was a big hit comparative to that. So, it was nice. It was a nice change of pace. For us, it gets us up here a little bit early. I'm going to have to make some trips back and forth, just because I have a lot of 2-year-olds in training. And I'm used to coming up later in July. So, A little bit of a snag, but it's okay. We'll get
You make do.
frequent flyer miles.
Well, how do they handle? Were you hearing any fireworks popping off?
Well, yes, at 5:30 in the morning when we're breezing horses, there were
Oh.
fireworks going off, and there was actually security out looking for them, and
Oh my
like
gosh.
horse safety is of utmost importance here. So like there were security calling they were out trying to find out where they were, and the police department was looking for them, but I think they either ran out of fireworks or they finally whatever they were drinking hit them and they went to bed shortly after because they stopped.
Dear goodness, because yeah, I mean, it's hard enough with any animal, let alone a 1,000+ pound racehorse.
Yeah, and they hear it all night. Most of them, I didn't luckily have any problems, but it's hard for them because they can't hear or see what's going on. Well, they can't conceptualize what the noise is. So,
Right.
Some of them get loose, some of them just get tired in the stall. Like, luckily we had no injuries.
Did you see that horse get loose in Monmouth?
Yeah, it's always one a year that is running down a street, and
gosh,
usually, luckily most of it's all's well that ends well. So.
Yeah, I hope so. Because I'm also thinking not only the worries regarding the traffic itself, but also the shoes on the hard pavement.
Yeah.
I mean, but on happier news, you've got, again, this whole week that you're going to be looking forward to. You got some really lit entries coming in, including Lady Eli's son there, Dr. Agne, who we saw in the barn. Thank you for showing him to us. Son of Into Mischief. I know it's so special to have this boy, and you gave him a very, very special name. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so kind of profound that it actually came full circle. So when Lady Eli was battling laminitis, we had two podiatrists come in. Dr. Agne was working with Root and Riddle down here, and he was one of the first, as I understand it, one of the first podiatrists who made podiatry a specialty, who was a blacksmith and a veterinarian, and made that a specialty. Not just a veterinarian or not just a blacksmith. He was both. And a lot of podiatrists who are now had studied and mentored under him, or he was their mentor rather, one being Dr. Fraley, who also was on the case. So Dr. Agne came up from Saratoga to work on her, and Dr. Brian Fraley flew in to work on her the first day. Both of them had a hand in working and saving her life, and ultimately getting her career back into being a racehorse, which was a very slim possibility with her first meeting. And Dr. Agne was geographically closer from being from Saratoga, so he was coming every weekly, and Dr. Fraley was coming bi-weekly. And Dr. Fraley and I are still very good friends. He does a lot of my work now in Lexington. So now you're going to get me emotional, which I'm going to try not to do, because there's got a whole week of this, and people keep asking me. So Dr. Fraley came on her last visit in September, and it was her last visit, and he says, okay, well, she's ready to go to the farm. This will be the last time I get to see you. And I kind of joked, and I says, well, kind of like, well, man, we just became friends, and we've seen each other all summer. And, in one of our visits, he told me how he started taking up cycling, and he's getting ready to retire. He's winding down, and this was like his last job setting up at Root and Riddle here in Saratoga. And then Chad called me. He was killed cycling on Memorial Day. And so I made an offhanded comment or remark in a subsequent conversation. I said, well, we just have to name one of our babies after him, just a offhanded, and, never kind of forgot about the whole comment. And so we when when he was acquired and we're trying to name him, you know, we put a partnership together. Saul had bought the horse and we put a partnership together. And yeah, I was walking my dog. I was walking Reggie, and I don't know why it just popped in my head, kind of that like the spot where it was on Loch Ness, like I was trying to give him a good name, something fitting, and then it just was like a light bulb moment. Like, you got to name him Dr. Agne, Cherie. Like, I don't know why it just unlocked or clicked at that moment, but I kind of remember. And so I reached out to Dr. Fraley because I was like, hey, I need to try to get his widow's info, because I didn't want to do it without her knowing and her blessing. So then it was kind of not funny. I reached out to Jen, who works for Dr. Bramlage, and I asked her, and she gave me her phone number. And I called her, and it was like a cold call, and I was thinking, so I said, hey, this is Cherie, my name is Cherie, and I explained to her who I was, and that he worked with Lady Eli. And I was almost, it sounded like I was going to say, like, he had a child somewhere. It was like, like... like, what is this girl getting at? And then I said I want to name the kid. And then there was not a dry eye in the house because I had her on speakerphone. And I'm crying, and she's crying, and David Carroll's crying. Oh. So we're all crying. And I said I want to name a horse after Dr. Agne. So she's going to make it up to the races. So hopefully he puts in a good showing, and he, safe. Everything's good. But we're all just excited about it. And she's been getting videos, and she's super excited. And fingers crossed, because he's been acting like he can really run, so it would be a really fitting tribute to Dr. Agne. Because, again, if it weren't for him and Dr. Fraley, there would be no Dr. Agne the horse.
That's so true. And he is entered to run on the 11th, race 6, maiden special weight on the inner turf with Jose Ortiz aboard. I actually have a picture. I stole this off your feed.
Steal away. And
I didn't think you'd mind.
Oh my God, I got myself in such a jam. So, I fully acknowledge I'm emotionally attached to him. And there are horses that you do get. And so it's hard to say as a trainer, I can objectively look at horses and train them and say, okay, this one's good, or, this one needs more time, or this one, we have to run, where they belong. So I really liked him, and it was hard for me to objectively say this horse is really good, or I think this horse is really good. So Jose, rides a lot for us year round, everywhere we go. And so I said, I need you to come in and ride this horse. And I knew I was putting myself in a spot because Irad had ridden Lady Eli in all of her starts.
Oh.
And we already started the joke, like, Irad, Jose wants to ride when I got, when I knew we were getting him. So it was like a running joke. Well, then Irad's breezed him a couple times, and I was like, or Jose breezed him a couple times and loves the horse. And I'm like, now I'm in a spot, and I know it's going to be hurt feelings, but Jose works a lot with us, and he is in Kentucky, and so, we'll find something else for Irad that's really good, and then they'll have to find it out on Breeders' Cup turf.
There you go.
Sorry, guys. You'll have to find it out there.
Oh my gosh. All right. Yeah. It is. It feels, it's one of those situations where you hear all the details of the story, and it's hard not to acknowledge that this is meant to be. This horse is meant to be in your
get in the starting gate and prove it. But I even called his agent, and I said, Steve Rushing, I said, Steve, I know he knows I really love this horse, and it's like near and dear to my heart. And, I said, so I don't want him to feel like he needs to tell me this, and he's like, no, he really likes the horse. I'm like, okay. But, I just, again, they have to go out and prove it. But so far he's acting precocious, and he has a lot of works under him. So he's got a base of foundation, but they can do anything when they go out there, and we're still going to love him when he comes back. So
yeah,
he doesn't like treats. And I keep trying to I was so close, and I was giving him a peppermint, and I'm like, your mom loved peppermints, and she's so disappointed in you today. Eat the peppermint.
Oh my gosh. We'll talk a little bit. We kind of mentioned it when you went up to the stall, and about how he is sweet, and obviously she was not.
No.
How difficult was it managing her and taking care of her when she had that type of temperament where you literally everybody, she literally had a cone in front of her stall because she could take your head off if you got too close.
Well, she did. She bit a couple people, and like, I mean, would go after kids. It's very rare that you have a horse that will go after kids.
Yeah.
They're usually, I mean, she was savage. Like, the first couple days, I mean, she was very sick. And she had her head out, and the one decision that Chad had made, and I think it's the decision that saved her life and ultimately saved her career, was they wanted to send her to the clinic. And he said, no, we're going to keep her here, and we're going to keep her where the people are around her that she trusts and that she knows. Because he knew that if she went outside of her comfort zone and people were around her that she didn't know, it was going to be so stressful on her. So literally for days on end, and it's no exaggeration, she would have her head out, and I would be sitting in a corner, like I would be sitting in the opposite corner, her offside, on a bucket, just like sitting there trying not to startle her, so she would jump out of the bucket of ice. It was in an ice tub. They have like ice things. Oh no, we sat with her foot in the ice tub, changing the ice, and then she'd want to get a rest, and we'd let her out, and I would take a bathroom break, and but that was it for 3-4 days. I lived sitting with my rear end, and I was a lot smaller then, so there was not a lot of meat on my bones on that bucket. So her and I actually got to be we had a special relationship where I would not go up and hug her or do stuff, but she wouldn't bite my head off. We could get along. And then I saw her before she had her first foal, and she was still cantankerous. And then after she had her foal, totally different. Reagan walked up to her when she was young, and she was loving on her. And I was like, oh, please don't. Please, I just got married to this guy. Please don't eat his daughter. And she was just as cool just like totally different, totally changed. But she was mean. I mean, savage, mean. Ripped jackets off of people. I mean, just mean.
My gosh.
Ira would breeze her, and you couldn't get the tack off of her. She'd kick the walls and she'd bite at you. So I'd have to tell him to just get out, and somebody else in the room would have to untack him for her. So, because she was just so mean.
Well, I've always, whenever I talk about you, I use the cliche, but it's true. Horse whisperer. You have a way of figuring a horse out. The temperament, you have also a way of figuring horses out when you know that they just need some sort of tweak to just get them on the right footing. If they only did this, or maybe we change the equipment here. But you've been just doing this for so long. You don't look it, but you have been doing this for so long.
I think if you just pay attention a little bit, to me, it seems like second nature. I grew up around horses, and seems simple to me. I don't know. Just second nature. Now, you asked me about people, then it's a different story. I guess maybe that's why I got married late in life.
Same. Well, Tom Amos was talking about on the show last week. He said one of the things is sort of, when people say, oh, if only these horses could talk, he's like, they do talk.
Yeah.
We just need to pay attention and listen to what they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes, I think Dave Grenning asked me, he says, well, she feels pretty, could technically be 10 for 10. What do you think about it? And I said, well, I think maybe I should have put blinkers on sooner. It just.
Well, I actually
don't really know how you answer that, but that's what I think. Maybe I should have had an inkling, maybe I should have put blinkers, but whatever. It is what it is.
While we're talking about She Feels Pretty, I'm going to segue going from Lady Eli to She Feels Pretty because she's an older horse. Before we move on from the 2-year-old conversation here, I just thought it was fitting since She Feels Pretty is going to be contesting the Diana this weekend. Why don't we watch Lady Eli winning the 2017 edition? Do you remember watching this race live?
Vaguely. I think I might have collapsed in a heap. But.
Oh gosh. This horse was just absolutely, I mean, the attitude she had in the barn, she obviously used that to her advantage on track.
Oh yeah, she was, I mean, you'd have to say there's few horses that are like as tenacious as she was, because it's just tough, like, and it showed it everywhere, on the track, off the track. And again, we had a couple. Well,
Yeah, and for those who don't know, and how dare you not know, right in here as we're watching this replay, Lady Eli is the number 3 horse.
yes,
So, and you'll
with
see
her
her
ears pinned back.
Does she ever try to? I don't think I've ever noticed it in a replay or anything. But do you know of any time that she's ever?
No, she liked other horse. She loved Jack. Loved Jack.
The pony. Yeah. Well, it is interesting. These horses, they all have different personalities. This is part of why. I mean, there's only so much handicapping you can do because they're not machines, obviously. They've got their personalities. They can be grumpy one day.
Well, she kind of had her way with it. She loved Jack. It was so funny because we used to stand at Belmont like for a while before she would train, and they were like this old married couple. She'd like turn her head when he would acknowledge her. She'd like bite him on the face, and I'm like,
oh my gosh! Well, right here, one of the reasons also I love this race is because she freaking, styles up right next to Quadira here.
Yeah, she's like, see you later.
You can tell she's angry here. I always thought she would savage it right here, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, she's like, why aren't you going away?
But yeah, let's talk about She Feels Pretty. She just won the New York Stakes. I can share that screen and you can talk over it for us. And we'll actually see her going to the gate here in this replay. This is number 8. And Lael Stable. This filly, I remember filming one of our Future Stars Friday packages with you at the barn at Keeneland. And while she didn't get to the winner's circle that day in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, oh my gosh, that was such an impressive performance.
Yeah. Well, in this race, like, this just shows her grit and determination. She hated the track. It rained, and Glenn Kosak and I were talking. You see the rails way out, so they're traveling around a ground. They're having to travel farther. But she just, like, every time Johnny kind of let her out, usually she's like pulling him and tugging him to the front, and she's going, but she's not really pulling him. She grits it out ultimately in the end, but she's a filly that, like, when I say she's easy to train, you can point her to a race, train her up to the race, make sure she's fit enough, and she usually, she has not put in a bad performance in her life.
No.
But she's kind of one where it's been interesting because she's changed so much physically. She won 5.5 her first time out, and we were just trying to get a race into her, get her started. She had a lot of precocity. She's quick.
And she gave you your first grade 1, right? Winning the Dotoma.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And she's changed so much. She's kind of this weedy, like, very mature, very backwards filly. And now you look at her, she's a tank. She's a big, strong filly. She's filled out. She's gorgeous. And she has to work for it here. Beach Bomb really, really gave her a run for her money. And kudos to her because she's kind of traveling, but she's really not kicking away clear like she usually does.
But still, you said she was not loving the track that day.
She's not loving the track. You can see she's laboring really hard over it.
So this is all freaking guts.
Yeah, and they clear the field pretty well. These two.
Oh yeah,
clear the field. But I mean, she's just, I'm so privileged. Like, I feel privileged to be able to train her. But she used to be so stressed in her stall, and just like, got worried, bored. I don't know what it was, but now she has the bane of my existence in Mickey, her goat. And
I have this here. Keep talking about it, yeah.
Yeah, so the goat, I'm adamant I do not want goats in the barn. I used to think, they're gimmicky, they're whatever, but then she has her goat, she loves that goat, and the goat she's just so much happier. She used to have these, like, distressed look in her face, see it in her eyes, and cribs a little. She used to crib a lot, and now it's cut it down to, like, nothing, and that's not just annoying, it's very scary. They can have major bouts of like major issues.
Yeah.
It's cut it down significantly, and I mean, it's changed her life. And you know, she was still winning, she was still running well, but that goat, so just so what everybody understands now what we deal with. And so prior to the race here in New York, the goat is not allowed. Those little goats can't have regular sweet feed. They get kidney stones.
Oh,
And
okay.
so they called me and they said Mickey is not doing well. I knew he had a kidney stone, and so I call him and I'm like, hey, this is not a joke. Like, get the vet there. This is major issue, because if something happens to the goat and that filly gets upset, like, we've have a problem, you know. Like, so they get there and they take an X-ray. Well, it's not in his bladder, because if they rupture in the bladder, then it can kill the goat.
Oh, wow.
So Wednesday, I was at Turfway, like I said, breezing horses. So I just everybody note this, because this is the stress. Like, I have horses, and now I have this effing goat. So, and Gretchen and Roy, they love the goat. Like, so he says, okay, so my vet there says, well, the goat, I gave him some Banamine. The goat is comfortable. I think he passed whatever it was. So I'm there on Thursday morning at 5 o'clock, and the goat is making this god-awful noise. So I said, this goat is in pain. Get me a goat surgeon. Where does this goat have to go? And it needs to go there now. Like, get the goat there. They had x-rayed the goat the day before and didn't see it in his bladder, wherever. So the goat surgeon came, okay?
Oh my gosh.
Surgery. They ultrasounded the goat. They found it in his urethra. The goat's sedated outside her stall. He's anesthetized. He's had the goat, like, you know, they cut open. It was in his urethra. So you know what my next question is? What did the goat get? How fast does he metabolize it? Because I can't have the goat peeing in her stall and getting me a positive with HISA.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
This is true story. I said I need a document of everything you gave the goat, so that if something happens, I have documented what the goat had, in case goats metabolizes way slower than what horses do.
I'm sorry. These are like, see, this is the problem, kind of. I mean, I think a lot of stuff needs to be fine-tuned a bit with HISA.
No?
I don't think they're counting for goats with...
Yeah, so then, like, we funny did a video. Like, I was sitting on the rainy day, one of the rainy days after she won the New York, and they were jogging the goat up back and forth, and the goat was sound. Like, it was funny, like, haha, and I'm like, oh, what are you guys doing? Like, they're kidding, joking around. Like, we all have a sense of humor. So, like, taking the video of the goat jogging. Well, that afternoon, the goat was lame, so the goat was subsequently lame, and, like, you can't have the goat lame, so I'm Googling what can be wrong with the goat. And so they send me a medication to get the goat across the street. So I'm like, well, did we get the goat his medication? So my assistant says no, because I looked and somebody got a positive for that from HISA. So now the goat can't have anything to make him comfortable, because it's a HISA, like, you can get a positive for HISA. So, like, these are the things that we have to pay attention to.
Are there goat diapers, maybe? Like...
Well, no, this was for his foot. This wasn't for his...
Oh, so it was an ointment on his foot. It's not something orally...
No, this was like a goat Banamine or something.
Okay.
Like, this was goat whatever. So the goat can get Banamine. So the goat gets Banamine now, but don't worry. The goat got his foot soaked, and we packed it with Thrush Buster. And,
all right.
Not Thrush Buster, it was Copper Tox. It was a copper or something. And, oh yeah, he had his own little Copper Tox, so we had to cut with alcohol. They had it down to a size. We are fully invested in keeping the goat as comfortable as possible, so that she can have her goat, and the goat can be happy, and she can be happy, and HISA cannot come down on me.
Oh gosh, no, the only reason I was thinking diapers is because, like, as you were talking about with peeing in the stall, David Carroll, I would think he would be happy to be in charge of overseeing the goat care.
No, he does not want to be in charge of the goat. Nobody wants to be in charge of the goat.
When did Mickey come to join the barn exactly?
It was Derby week, not this past year, the year before. So Mickey's
Okay.
every year. He's
So,
flown California.
oh
He's flown
my.
Florida.
He's a well-traveled goat.
Oh yeah. And the goat can only go. She can only run where the goat's allowed to go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So tell us about how you mapped out this campaign. Well, we
Yeah,
checked
where
out.
the goat can go.
Can the goat go to Tampa Bay Downs?
Yeah, but he has to have the ear tag.
Okay. Does he have to
Somebody
be?
told me to take the ear tag off, and so then they told me that the Department of Agriculture in Florida, and it's true, they have to have an ear tag. So now, like, she went to Florida with her. He went to Florida with her for her layoff, and they won't let him out of Florida, and he would have gotten stuck. And I could not chance him getting stuck at the ag stop.
No.
For not having an ear tag, and I don't want to have another ear tag put in and then him looking like, one of those people who have a bunch of things on his ears.
I have to ask, how did you even discover him?
Facebook post.
Really?
Lexington Equestrian. It was like, yeah, a Facebook post.
And did they fall in love right away with each other?
She was indifferent to him, but she was like so worried about him that she like just worried about what he was doing, and then all of a sudden she was just like in love with the damn goat. Like,
Aww.
and we have the flagpole right out in front, and he goes in the flagpole, and she watches him out there, and she's fine as long as she can see him. She's fine.
That's so sweet. That is so sweet. Now, she feels pretty in terms of what she does on track instead of worrying about her goat in the barn. She's won her last 4 races. And so now taking on in New York, of course, that was, as you said, one of those races where she was not happy with the yielding ground, but she gutted it out anyway. I'm thinking the weather's good this weekend.
Yeah, there's a chance of storms on Friday. I think the turf courses could use some rain. They're quite speed favoring, so we'll see. But she can handle any ground. She doesn't care. I mean, she can handle it. She guts it out.
Yeah. Do you put any extra pressure on yourself when a horse is on a streak, or you're just like, hey?
I really do. It's up to them. I just get nervous. I'm working on it.
What about the relationship she has with Johnny?
I think that it's together. Like, I'm one of those trainers, once I give the rider a leg up, it's out of my hands. So you'll see me cleaning up in front of me, staring off into the abyss. Somebody said I look really bored for having a horse in a grade 1 when Baba ran. It's like, well, what do you want me to do? I mean, pick at my face, chew my fingernails, crack jokes. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm nervous. So I do like these. I don't know what to do, but I'm nervous. So.
How is Baba?
She's good.
Yeah. Do you have any like certain plans coming up, or are you just letting her?
Well, she doesn't like Saratoga, and she's proved that to me. She's given me the middle finger quite a bunch of times. She does not like it up here, so I think we're going to the Pink Ribbon. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
So we'll go there to Charlestown, where she likes it, and then just kind of map out her course to Breeders' Cup. But she will be in the Keeneland sale in November, and my piece of my heart will be leaving my body.
Gosh. Well, you have her sister, right?
Ahava, yes, we do.
Yeah. How's she doing?
She had a little setback. We were giving her some time. We're never going to run her in the Oaks. She lost a lot of weight. We threw a lot at her. She broke her maiden, then we ran her in the Louisiana Oaks. And she ran second. She ran great.
Yeah.
And then we were giving her some time, and then she got a chip in her ankle, and kind of forced us to give her more time than we wanted, but she should be back this fall.
That's cool. I can't remember. She's a half sister, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Lady Eli.
And is she like laid up where you always send your horses? Were they?
She's with Becky Maker, who we send Bava to regularly. She go out for a week or 2 weeks and goes happy. Bava's one that early on wouldn't keep weight on, so if she didn't really have a race, we'd just send her out there for a week or 2 and just let her get grass, and she loved it. So Ahava's out there, and Becky's early on, Ahava had some baby stuff that Becky had her, so she's besties with the Ahava Vava. A lot of A's and V's.
So not only do you have Vava's sister, you also have She Feels Pretty's. Is that half or a full? Half sister. Tell us about her. She feels
stunning.
All right, love it.
She is stunning. So she's a lot like She Feels Pretty, and she's developing the same. Came in. She's light. I wouldn't say skinny, but we push on her and she works, and then we have to back off on her, which we had to do as She Feels Pretty along the way. So we had a couple really nice works. She's quite impressive. And then we've just had to back off on her and just let her body catch up with where she is, fitness wise. So she's back galloping and she looks great, and she responds to that. Just instead of breezing her and then making her look really skinny, we just give her a couple jog days, a couple weeks jogging, and then she, body matures back, puts on some weight, puts on some muscle. So it's a process. You got to watch them every step.
Yeah.
And a lot of the 2-year-olds you do. One of the compliments people say is your horses always look good, and I really try hard to stay on top of it, especially 2-year-olds developing. It's a fine line we're walking. They're developing, they're growing. You'll see them laying down a lot, and their bodies are growing. Just gotta watch, because it's understandable that they will fall off, but their bodies are doing so much, and we're doing so much with them. But studies have shown that this is what they should be. They need
the bone modeling,
the bone remodeling. This is what they're supposed to do. Fine line though. You got to watch and walk it, just to make sure that you're doing what's best for their career that's ahead of them, not what's in front of them right now.
Yeah, of course. And She Feels Pretty, I should mention, daughter Carrie Conti, who won the Breeders' Cup Mile. She Feels Stunning, a daughter of another Breeders' Cup champion, Classic winner, Grand Slam winner, American Pharaoh, correct?
Correct.
That's pretty cool. So are you seeing differences in the maturity that way as well, since, Pharaoh's is...
No, it's kind of, they are pretty similar physically right now, but I think that comes more when they're 3 turning 4. You'll start to see like bigger shoulders, bigger hips, but they've got so much, especially fillies. A lot of them are so feminine right now. They all come in, and then so the colts, they're like big, broad, like look at me, and then the fillies start to catch up with them, and it's like okay, so that's kind of where they're at now. A lot of the fillies look really feminine, and then 3 they start to fill in, like especially in the springtime. So that's when they start to show a lot of differences.
Yeah, well, I think it's so cool though to have 2 sisters by different stallions, both having had success at the Breeders' Cup. And again, that was one of the things I brought up when you had She Feels Pretty going to the Breeders' Cup, because Carrie Conti had won the mile. And it's just fun. It's fun to see that for us because I feel like there's definitely, when you're looking at these horses who have come through the championships, when they then take on that next career and they're able to produce horses of the caliber to get to them themselves.
Right.
It just proves why these races are so prestigious.
Right.
And so you have so many. I actually love this picture. Let me see. This is, guys, if you ever want to find out what's going on at the Cherie DeVaux barn, go to her X account, because she posts it all. Like it's all there. Let's see here. The Baby Brigade. So there we go. Is there anybody in this lineup right here that we would be remiss to not talk about? Are any of these ones set to debut soon?
You're asking me. There's a bunch of bays with one chest.
There's a bunch of bays. Come on. I expect you to know. Just knowing from the tail.
I could pick out Bully right there. Just be on the lookout for Bully. No, there's a lot of exciting babies that we have.
Yeah.
We bought... I'm very fortunate. We bought a lot of really nice 2-year-old colts, but they're big 2-turn. 2-turn colts. So they're later developing. So we'll see a lot of them kind of towards the end of the summer, fall. We have one. His name is Roguishness, and he's he's ready to get started, but he comes out of the gate and it's just like you could tell he's 2 turns. So he's one that we'll get him started 6.5, 7, but not until he really gets around the ground is he going to show himself. But we have our first, Dr. Agne starting on Friday. He's a grass colt. And then we have a Tropa starting who's really done nothing wrong. Kind of there every week.
She's going to be running on the 12th, race 2 in the main special weight there at Saratoga. Manny Franco.
So, but she's bred and she looks like a 2-turn filly. She's big. She's got stands over a lot of ground. Looks like she wants to go over out of ground. So, getting them started. And I think it's well known. A lot of my 2-year-olds, they're not keyed up for the first race. Especially these ones. They're ready to run. They are ready to run. They should, but they're not. I don't want them keyed up to run their best race their first time out as a 2-year-old. There's so much more ahead of them. So yeah, I'm really excited. She's a nice filly, and she should show a lot going forward. But is she 6 furlong Saratoga? I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't expect her to be on the lead going 44, or she should be going second tier, but come with a run. And if she wins that way, I'd be thrilled. And then we have another filly, Glory Me, who's got a big pedigree. She's by Gun Runner. And she's a half to Pyrenees with the big family behind her.
She's the Pimlico Special.
Yes. And I love him. He's kind of was a tricky little booger. Most of its life.
But a flashy booger.
Mm-hmm. Really cute, but really making sure you're paying attention all the time. But she seems quite precocious. She's another one. She seems to be 2 turns. Really nice filly, and again, she's quite quick, but later, 2 turns, or looks like she wants to go a lot of ground, but she seems pretty quick. So, there's a lot in there, but they're not ready to run going. Again, they're not 6 furlong horses, I don't think. And it's not how we train. So,
Well, I will say, in a Tropa's case, she does have Street Boss in the pedigree. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it's all what you're seeing. I mean, there's one thing what you see on the page, but then of course it comes down ultimately to what you're seeing on the track and what they're doing.
Right. And it was how we started the Belladonna group. We wanted horses to run, to be fast, get people and get action. But ultimately we were trying to buy classic 2-turn horses, dirt turf, mostly dirt for the colts especially.
Yeah.
So they just take time, and they're going to be the later maturing type horses. So that's what we geared toward in buying, and you just got to be patient with them. And some of them they're big and they kind of mentally act a little aloof sometimes too. So just gotta wait for everything to click, body, brain, it all.
Oh my gosh! Well, you mentioned Glory Me. Did you mention which race she's in?
She is in I have my little cheat sheet of all my runners right here.
There you go.
I remember everything. Glory Me is in on Monday
at Ellis, right?
2 at Ellis, yes.
There you go. And what I would ask you too, it's like when you have multiple horses running at multiple tracks, how are you able to give due attention back and forth with what's happening, especially, for example, on an action-packed Saturday? I mean, this one's a little more spread out, but
well, most of the jockeys I touch base with in the morning, not obviously I'm here at Saratoga, but touch base with everybody who's out of town or that I'm not going to be seeing personally. Most of the jockeys that ride the horses, they're the same jockeys that ride my horses year round, and they know what to expect. Brian, who's riding Glory Me, rode Pyrenees, so he gets it. They know. 90% of my horses go away from the pony, and that's like the biggest instruction I give them is go away from the pony, or this horse might be a little. I don't really tell them how to ride the races unless not specifically. I'm not a jockey. Never was. Never wanted to be. But most of the time I kind of just tell them about the horse, and that way they can kind of implement, like, hey, this horse might not want to be inside, or I just tell them about the horse, and we have a conversation about it and let them implement what I say. So they get paid to do a job, and if they're riding the horse, they're very well qualified and capable of doing that job.
And you've got a great team that travels with these horses too. So,
Exactly.
I do want to mention one more filly. Can you believe, by the way, because I've had you now for the hour, but I just want to tell you, in terms of other stream shows and outside of horse racing media do huge numbers. I understand this. But in terms of horse racing streamed content, this is huge. We have over 1,000 people watching us live right now.
And nobody's chiming in. Come on, guys.
I know. I feel like they get shy. Either that or we're just handling the conversation so well. The questions they would ask, it's already been handled and you've already explained it. But let me go ahead. And guys, yeah, by the way, before I let her go, if there was anything you wanted to say, you better act now. Let's see here. I'm going to share the screen. This filly was actually one of my favorites at the Keeneland sale, and you guys ended up scooping her up. And so I was very happy to see that because I knew that she would be getting every opportunity. So her name, I love that you named her White Smoke, daughter of Breeders' Cup, juvenile champ, Essential Quality, out of the Curlin mare Mira Alta. Wait till you see how beautiful this horse is, y'all. Hold on a second. Let me pull it up for you. Boom! Girlfriend is gorgeous. That's an athlete.
Yeah, she's beautiful. And that was in February, I believe. Yeah, it was in February. I took that picture.
So how's she looking now?
She looks really well. She's taking a little time, again, later developing, so she's not even made it into us. We're trying to be very mindful. I think there's this big idea that we want these horses going. That's not it. Barry Eisman breaks our horses. He's got his finger to the pulse, so he knows. We don't want them in until we're ready to move forward. When they come into me, we want them to be able to move forward. Whether that's they're coming in and they're breezing a quarter, 3/8, 2-minute licking. They just have to be able to move forward. So she's had a couple, like, not anything major, no surgeries, nothing of that nature, but she just had a couple little setbacks, but she's a big girl. So, and naturally we I got the name. I actually named her because it was when they were naming the Pope. So,
there you go. I mean, it makes sense, right? But she is.
She's very sweet. She's very sweet.
And I love that she covers a lot of ground front to back here.
Yeah, she stands over a lot of ground.
What are you? I mean, Essential Quality. This is his first crop.
We have two. Out. We have her and we have a colt, and really like them both. They both look 2 turns, so kind of look forward to getting them in. But again, they're just both not ready to come in yet. So,
how soon do you have before? I mean, oh my gosh, now we have 1,100 and change.
Oh, see, we're gaining followers as we wait. So
I know. I think people got off work.
Yeah.
Now they're settling in. I don't speak Spanish, so I think this is Vamos Arriba. I don't think that's anything bad.
No.
Is it good?
Espanol? I don't speak Spanish.
Oh,
I speak barn Spanish. No.
Oh, okay. I'm Middle Eastern, y'all. I can speak a little bit of that. But okay, so before I let you go, rack your brain real quickly. Is there any horse I should have brought up that I didn't, and it's completely irresponsible on my end? And take in mind, I'm only supposed to focus on the 2-year-olds, and I know you've got a lot of nice older horses too, including Brilliant Birdie. You have that exacted there in the Wise Dan.
No.
But this is a 2-year-old show.
Look, I'm just looking through my thing. I'm just going to go real quick through them all. And see, the problem is if I mention one, then I'm going to get, why didn't you mention this one? And why didn't you mention that one? So
we'll give you the disclaimer. You can't mention them all.
No, I have a lot. I honestly, I don't want to say this, and I've got a lot of really exciting horses. No, and I'm not saying this just like, oh, I have a lot of exciting horses. I'm really proud of our team. David, we've worked really hard. I don't say this like flippantly. I've only been doing this 7 years, and
Crazy.
that is a drop in the bucket to what some trainers have done, and the talent that we've amassed, the talent that we have coming in that we're working with, the talent that we've developed. So proud and so grateful for that. So it's not something I take for granted. It's not like, oh, I've owed this. It's something that we've worked hard for. It's something that I personally have sacrificed for, and I'm trying to take a step back and really just appreciate that more, and not just be on the go and worrying about the next one or the next thing that needs to be done. So I feel like there's a lot more exciting things ahead of us, especially with this crop, because it's so big, but it's also a lot of quality. And as much as people want, we're keeping the numbers the same. It's not like I've grown and I have all these 2-year-olds come in. We haven't grown in numbers. We've just grown in quality. So, kind of gets a little quiet, and I get chomping at the bit, because as 2-year-olds come in, it's like, watching paint dry. But and when I say paint dry, it's exciting. You watch them and like this. I have a horse. I just want to talk about this because I feel like this is a teachable moment for myself and a lot of people. So I have this horse, so Sandy, and gorgeous. He's a gorgeous Omaha Beach. He looks,
just won, right?
He just won, yes. So he's stunning and will look beautiful in somebody's backyard in a hunter ring. He is gorgeous, and gorgeous mover, and he works nicely, and you could tell, like, you're just waiting for him to have this aha moment, like, okay, when are you gonna figure it out? And I tried him on the grass. I thought, okay, he's Omaha Beach, maybe he's on the grass, and just kind of one pace. And I just thought, one day he's gonna get it. One day he's gonna figure it out. Because it's like, you want to be responsible to the clients. As far as this costs a lot of money. So the horse been in training. So I always give him like a year, with no injury. The horse had no injuries. He's a big, scopy 2-turn horse. So I'm just like, I don't want to put him in for a tag, because I feel like one day he's going to figure it out, and then it's going to bite me in my rear end. Like, we're always trying to figure this out. So the horse broke his maiden impressively at Indiana. So I'm going to run him there, and maybe if he breaks his maiden, he'll figure it out. And so, you see these slow numbers, and I think sometimes people think, sometimes they think things that aren't pure thoughts. I think they say, oh, this person's cheating, and, but really some of us are just waiting for this horse to be like, okay, when are you going to have this moment where you're like, okay, I'm a racehorse. I'm not just like running with the pack. I can be the man. So he finally, he came back. He ran a 90 buyer after running like 50s, 60s. But we had been waiting for him to have this moment. Like, oh yeah, I'm a racehorse. But he'd been showing it. He's gorgeous. He breezes well. He's a steady Eddie, because he's a big 2-turn horse. They're not going to be turning in 47, 48 works. They're going to be steady and kind of going along. So it's like, some of that too is like, when I'm doing this, like, they might be summertime horses. So he's up at Saratoga prepping for the Curlin. We hope he keeps taking steps forward. But, right now he's a nice horse, running a 90 buyer. He ran, he took a big step forward. So we're hoping he takes another big step forward. And then, those horses, there's a lot of opportunity, going forward if he stays sound and, moves forward. But it's exciting. And, even those, like, as a 2-year-old, you don't want to say hopeless or useless, but it's like, are you ever going to figure this out? Like, I have another one, he's ready to run, but he can't figure out how to come out of the gate. And he stands there and he's like, oh, okay, I got to go. And it's like, I put different riders on him. I treated him for hind end issues. I've had him checked for soundness. I've checked his teeth because I thought maybe they're breaking in his mouth. I've checked everything, and I'm like, just ready for an animal communicator. And I know somebody's going to send me one. Please don't. I'm just joking.
Oh my
like
God.
these are all the things that we think about and, we go through. So, 2-year-olds, bless them, they make us earn our money.
Oh gosh. Well, do you have one in particular that you feel over the course of your career so far that you're like, yes, like I totally unlocked this horse? I mean, beyond the So Sandy situation where you felt like he just needed the time, like you actually did something, you're like, it's fixed. It's done. This horse is now awesome.
No, I can't. I mean, I will say, like, She Feels Pretty's one because, like, she's always been great, but she's been one that, like, I feel like there have been opportunities where if we didn't watch her, there have been a lot of opportunities to make a mistake there. And there have been a lot of tempting opportunities to make a mistake. Like, they offered us to go to Royal Ascot, and it was up to the Jacksons. I left it up to them. It wasn't for me. If they would have gone, I would have trained her into it, and it wasn't for them. But there have been opportunities. I mean, obviously, you could take her and run her in all these races that might have taken her to the Breeders' Cup after she won the Queen Elizabeth. There was opportunities to make decisions that they probably would have been the right decision for her. And I think those are the things that are the biggest lessons is don't take the bait to do the wrong thing. Like, give them the time when they need the time, or, because ultimately, she came back as a 4-year-old stronger. And that's the, you worry about that. Are they going to come back as a 4-year-old and be competitive and want to do it, or are they just precocious? And, so I think those are the lessons. And those are, what I'm most proud of, I think, are the decisions that you make that are the right decisions, or if you make the wrong decisions, learning the lesson. Like, don't do that. That was a bad mistake.
I think that's so important to bring up because what you just mentioned is something that we don't necessarily factor in. I know that you'll see sometimes in the forum where a horse is cross-entered and you're like, oh, the trainer's having a, hopefully they'll run him here in this spot because I, as the handicapper, think this is better, but not necessarily are we thinking, oh my gosh, this person got a huge opportunity to take their horse to Royal Ascot or to, pick a venue and declined it because they just didn't feel like they felt their horse could do well there, but they just didn't feel ultimately for the long game it was going to work.
No, and if you say I'm going to do that, then you have to be mindful that you're missing 2 or 3 races. You got to give the horse time. I don't know. Kudos to trainers, and I do admire because I don't know how to do it. Not right now in my infancy. I really.
But you're already a Breeders' Cup champion trainer. I mean, more than looks. Who, by the way, is at Lane's End Farm, y'all.
Exactly. But I say it's my infancy is I watch Aiden O'Brien. They come over here, they run here, they go back, they run other places. They come back and forth.
It's mind-blowing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can't even take a trip to California and coming back without having to sleep for 2 days. So, kudos to them. And I admire it. I'm not, I admire it. Right now, it's just something I would have to ask a lot of questions of how to get the horse over the trip because I would want to be responsible getting them there and coming back and making sure they're okay.
As a trainer, what do you think when you see all the Ballydoyle horses coming out on track to train?
It's I'm usually working into something, honestly, but it's just a different way of doing things. They do it that way, we do it our way, and they're probably like, well, they're rushing through it, and we're like, well, that's a lot of wasted time and money. Not in a bad way. It's just a different way of doing things.
Everybody has a different way. We'll see the Cherie contingent.
Hopefully
hitting the track and whatnot. But this is so much fun. Obviously, you make it easier. You're a dear friend, and it's always cool to see the horses doing so well. Especially, not only winning races.
See them.
I know. I'm gonna actually be up there Whitney week, so we're gonna have to swing by the barn. Are adults allowed to ride the pony?
Yeah, you can ride the pony. He's good. The only thing you gotta watch is he puts his head down because he wants the grass.
Oh my gosh!
I was like a bad hard horse to gallop. And now that he's a pony, he's like does not even want to lope. He's hard to ride because he's not doing anything except eat grass. So as long as you can just manage to keep his head up and not flip over his head when he does that, you're golden.
I had an Arabian who would do that all the time. Just you'd be going along, she'd stop, head down, and try to pull you off. But no, I miss it. I used to ride regularly. I miss it a lot. But what I will also say is that part of the reason I also love speaking with you, not only because you're a friend, not only because you're having so much success, but because you've earned that success. I know how hard you work, and I love how transparent you are about what goes into that. You do have a tremendous team behind you, and it's just a group I am proud to call my friends, and I am so happy and looking forward to what is going to be happening as we progress through these next several months heading into the Breeders' Cup for you.
I appreciate that.
All right, everybody. I'm not gonna keep her from maybe going checking on her horses or maybe checking on that goat.
The goat.
Mickey, right? It's Mickey, right?
It's Mickey. Mickey Blue Eyes. He has 2 blue eyes.
Have you played him the Mickey song, by the way?
No.
Hey, Mickey, you're so fun, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. No?
You are more than welcome to play him the song when you come up here for a movie. And sing it to him, and I'll take a video of it, and you can post it.
So long as I don't have to do the whole outfit, too, because that might look a little weird.
The whole outfit.
Yeah, I should probably
do it. You do you, girl.
You know, I always do. But anyway, everybody, this has been an awesome edition of the Future Stars Forecast on this 2-year-old Tuesday featuring Cherie DeVaux. I can already tell you next week, my guest, John Green of DJ Stable, debuted Ewing over the weekend, who won by, I think, 12 lengths. Did you see that race?
I did see that race, and I want to say David might have had him buying it, but I can't say that 100%.
Oh, because West Point's a part owner.
Yeah.
Okay, see, there we go. The connections just keep connecting.
But I don't know. I can't say that for sure because I can't keep track of my own stuff, much less as well.
No worries about that. We will find out. I will ask Mr. Green when I have him on next week. But again, thank you so much, Cherie. Thank you for everybody out there who's watching. Almost 1,200 people who don't say anything really, but thank you for at least tuning in. And I will check you back here next week.
Bye-bye.